Hello everybody and welcome to our Sunday night live update. In this video, I wanted to go over some of the things that happened this week, kind of summarize it for you in one big video, the key executive orders that were signed this week, and also at least 15 points in Biden's proposal that you need to know today. And also, we'll talk about what's going to happen later this week. January 29th, we're expecting a full immigration day. January 29th is going to be a full immigration day of executive orders, and we are expecting President Biden to issue an executive order about the public charge rule, a comprehensive review of the public charge rule. There's going to be also a few other public charge rules revision in that executive order, and other executive orders with respect to citizenship, and also the issue at the border. So it's going to be an exciting week, but in this video I'm going to go over, give you like a nice summary, and also we'll talk about what to expect ahead in the next 2 weeks. So let's jump right in. So this week started with President Biden's inauguration. It was a very exciting week. And he essentially was able to sign at least 5 executive orders. And again, many of you are joining me live right now. If you're here, please let me know where you're from. I'm going to try to answer a few questions. We have Giselle here. Welcome, Giselle. We have Katrina, Stanley, a lot of our loyal followers. So I'll get back to some of the questions after I will finish with the summary. So remember, I'll summarize the executive orders and talk about the most important key points about this proposed bill. So President Biden essentially signed 5 executive orders. 5 executive orders. The first executive order was, and I'm going to give you a summary, the main ones. Order preserving and fortifying deferred action for child arrivals, DACA. So essentially, DACA is going to be here for the next 4 years, and a few other provisions. We have an executive order to end the Muslim ban. I've made a video explaining exactly what it is. It's coming up this week as well, a little bit more in-depth explanation as to what this ban will do for other things like the consulates and embassies, how it's going to impact on the reopening. But essentially, that executive order reversed 4 previous proclamations all the way from 2017 that prevented people from coming into the United States from those countries. We have an executive order reinstating DED, deferred enforced departure for Liberians, all the way through 2022, essentially allowing them to stay in the country and be able to work. We have an executive order redirecting funds previously allocated to U.S.-Mexico southern border. Essentially, this construction of the border is going to stop. We have an executive order that essentially focuses on enforcement, immigration enforcement. We have a 100-day ban on deportations, part of that executive order. And we have an executive order to review other regulations. Essentially, for the next 60 days, any of the rules that were issued under Trump's administration are going to be reviewed. There's going to be a freeze of these regulations. So this is we know, and again, every single day when it came out, I give you an update. But we've got some key points that I want to talk about that are going to impact quite a few of you, specifically as those executive orders are going to come out, and maybe eventually this is going to become law. Right now, this was a proposal. The bill was introduced, but remember, until it passes both the Senate and the House and is signed by the President, it's not going to become obviously a law. So we all have to be patient. So let's talk some of the key points that you need to remember. Number one, there's going to be an expedited process for citizenship for DACA recipients, and also people under the temporary protected status, TPS. So eventually, the president talked about giving them a path for citizenship first green card, eventually citizenship. So, you know, the DACA program is going to become permanent eventually, and as well as TPS. Point number 2. We're talking about a comprehensive immigration reform for 11 million immigrants who are here currently undocumented, as long as they came here before January 1st of 2021. So we don't have details on that yet, but the idea is to create some sort of an amnesty, comprehensive immigration reform for millions of undocumented immigrants. Another point number 3 that is important to know is that they're going to raise the country limits on family-based immigration and eliminate per-country limits on employment visas. So essentially right now, as you know, the reason the wait is so long for these visas is because it's taking so long for people to immigrate, because they have to wait. Well, the idea behind this is to raise the country limits, and that's also part of the proposal. In addition to that, that's for family base. The idea is also to increase the country limits for employment base as well. Currently, we have about 140,000 employment-based visas available every year. The idea is to increase that to 170,000, which is amazing. Another point to remember is, and maybe that's something that was not really publicized, but those students that earn PhDs, specifically PhDs under the STEM program in the United States, they're going to be exempt from the numerical cap of visas. So essentially, if you go to school here and you get your degree and you get your PhD, if you want to be able to get a green card eventually, you're not going to have to be waiting anymore, because you're going to be exempt from the country cap. They're going to be increasing the number of employment-based visas for EB3 in the EB3 category from 10,000 to 40,000. Specifically, those visas that are currently in the other workers, they're going to be moving that to the EB3. That's going to make things go flow faster. Another point is eliminate the visa backlogs for immigrants that are derivatives. So for example, immigrants that are waiting for their green cards for more than 10 years, they're essentially pending, and their derivatives are going to be able to be exempt from the visa backlogs because they've been waiting for so long. It's going to authorize DHS to do certain things as far as visa distributions in H-1B, in the H-1B visa category, perhaps even overhaul the H-1B visa category altogether. We don't know exactly how that's going to work. It's going to be creation of a new pilot program with 10,000 visas in it for people that are essential to the United States. So there could be people that are essential to the economy, or they're helping with medical. There's going to be a separate category of visas to allow these people to come here and get green cards. They're going to create a protection for F1 students, specifically at higher education. So as you know, right now, F1 students, for them to be able to get green cards or apply for visas, sometimes it's hard if they know that they want to stay here a long time. They're going to eliminate the dual intent. They're going to eliminate the immigrant intent that is associated with an F1 visa. So essentially, they'll be able to immigrate without worrying about the dual intent issue. They're going to authorize extension of stay for people in F, H, and O1 status. So if they filed for a labor certification and that labor certification is pending for more than a year, then if you're an F or H or O1 status, you'll be able to extend your visa indefinitely until you get your green card, which is obviously going to help eliminate a lot of the backlogs. They will, another point is provide work permits for dependent of H-1B, so H-4 EADs, and also protect their children from aging out, which is currently something that is an issue, obviously. Some changes to the refugee program and asylum, and those are things that I mentioned also in previous videos. and also remove the word alien from U.S. immigration law and replace it with a non-citizen. And finally, create some changes to the review completely the public charge program, which again, as I mentioned to you, is going to happen on January 29th. We're going to see probably a new executive order, and maybe we'll see complete elimination of the public charge. So these are some major points that are important for people that are currently waiting, whether they're students, immigrants. One thing that I forgot to mention is that part of the Muslim ban removal, there's also a provision there that forces the embassies and consulates to start processing visas right now, specifically for those people from those countries. But we can see that happening for other countries as well. So embassies and consulates are going to start resuming cases, and we expect to see this in the next few months as well. So we have a lot of things that are going to happen, a lot of good points, and this week is going to be a big week for immigration. Remember, January 29th, we're going to see a few executive orders, and probably is going to be more things are happening. So this is important things for you to be aware of. I mean, there's just so many changes, so many proposals. We haven't seen that in years. And remember, just the things that I mentioned to you about increasing the country caps, eliminating students who have PhDs from the cap, authorizing family members to come to the United States and wait while their visas are being processed outside of the cap. Those are things that we've never seen before, and again, they're either going to happen as part of a major bill, or they're going to happen as a peaceful immigration or through executive orders, and we're going to see a lot of those happening this week on the 29th. Let me take a few of your questions, and so we have a lot of people here tonight, and I'm excited. Let's see. Colasonia de Sacramanos, when will Syria Acquirers Consulate resume interviews? So remember, a new video is coming up this week where I'm going to give you an update on consulates and embassies. But what I can tell you is that embassies and consulates are reopening in phases right now, depending on the country conditions. So you need to contact Syria Acquirers and communicate with them to figure out when is your embassy is going to reopen and when they're going to reopen for interviews. Jomon says, could you explain what this means? Approved family petitions will be able to wait in the US while they wait for the green cards on a temporary visa. Excellent. So what that means, it's another point, part of the reform is that, so for example, let's say you file for your brother or your sister, and right now it's taking about 15 years for that petition to be approved. They're going to create a special visa. I think it's going to be called the V visa. And under that visa, you'll be able to come here and wait for your status inside the United States. You're not going to have to wait 15 years back home. You'll be able to be here on a temporary visa while the green card of the family is petitioned. That's a really good question. Fred, will this immigration reform speed up process in general? I think that it's going to speed up the process in general in the way that as the agencies are going to start working on cases, as the agencies are going to start adjudicating instead of enforcing, everything is going to go faster. But that's going to take probably more than a year because the backlog right now is pretty severe. Let's see here. We've got Mary from the Philippines, hoping every service center will be back to normal and work on their backlogs. So once again, we believe that as part of the new, remember that they have a new management right now at UCIS, right? They have new director, a lot of new people are going to come in here. I believe that this new administration is going to help speed up all this processing because new people are going to come in and help move things along. Let's take another question from Harpreet. I have a family asylum case for final individual hearing. How these laws help us from Sacramento, California. So what is going to happen is that, remember, one of the executive orders is that Biden said that he's going to review the processing of the courts and the enforcement procedures. So it's going to definitely help, bring more staff to the courts, and eventually it's going to reduce the backlog of the court system. So of course, everything comes together and everything is going to help for sure. So any news on the family visa ban? So today, actually yesterday, we got some updates from a hearing that took place that they were basically challenging the family visa ban. There's no decision yet on that hearing, but the judge essentially questioned the government's argument that ban was still necessary. So remember, there are two things that are happening. There's the litigation that is going. There's a lawsuit that was filed to remove that ban, and then we have Biden that may actually issue an executive order to reverse the family ban, which hasn't happened yet. But you know what? It could happen maybe on the 29th of January. Remember, there are several executive orders that are going to be issued. This could be one of them. But for the moment, the family ban has not been reversed. But there is a lawsuit that was filed, and there was a hearing a couple of days about that. And we're expecting a ruling from the judge in San Francisco as well. Raul, do we have any updates on the K1, especially the Philippines? My case is still stuck up there since April. So remember, K1 visas should be processed as normal right now. You need to contact your individual embassy and try to see if you can expedite your interview, because right now these embassies are starting to reopen, and even the ones that are not reopened fully, they should be able to process your K1. K1s are not banned, or K1 visas are not banned under any of the proclamations, just so you know. Giselle, how about the ban for family-based? Yeah, so like I said, I mentioned that just now. That ban is still in place, but maybe on January 29th, Biden is going to issue an executive order that will reverse that. We'll see. Let's see. I'll take another question, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you have any information to share on the Liberia Refugee Immigration Fairness Act that Congress passed for Liberia? The whole process is stalled since November, and there are no interviews. So, like I said, I'll probably make, I don't know if I'll make a separate video on that, but I don't have specific information on that. I know that there's going to be an executive order that is going to address this issue, and like I said, maybe on the 29th we'll get more information about that as well. Sachin, anything on H1Bs? So the one thing I can tell you for on H1Bs is that the final rule that is going to change the wages and is going to make all these big changes to the lottery is not going to happen. That was not part of the Federal Register, so nothing. There are no changes to the H1B rule. All these changes that were proposed by Trump are gone right now. So everything is normal. You're going to have a lottery, and H1B visas are now. If you're looking to file for an H1B visa, you have to start doing it right now, getting ready. People want me to, let me see here. How can this help asylum seekers? Like I mentioned, there's going to be a provision there in the bill that will eliminate the 1-year rule for asylum. You're not going to have to wait the 1 year to apply for asylum. So there's going to be good things for a lot of people. Anyway, once again, I just wanted to come on here and summarize what happened this week. So we had 5 executive orders that were issued. I mentioned them in the beginning of this video. I've also went through about 15 points that you need to be aware of for this bill that Biden sent to Congress. So hopefully, if both the House and the Senate will come up with a compromise, we should be able to get this bill signed by the president. For the moment, it's just a bill, remember. But there were some key points that we have never heard before, and hopefully we'll be able to see that pass. So once again, thanks for watching this video this week. I have videos for you about the status of embassies and consulates, the most recent up to date. I'm going to have videos, questions and answers from you guys, the most important questions and answers. And we'll have a few more videos talking about the new B1, B2 visa bond program that was just released, and I made a video on that as well. So exciting week ahead. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you in our next video. Thanks.